I stayed quiet while my mother stole $20,000 from me, because I needed her to believe I didn't know. The first time she lied to my face, I was holding a graduation card in our kitchen. June heat made the linoleum stick to my shoes. She'd just finished crying at my high school ceremony in New Haven, hugging me so tight I could smell her hairspray. "Grandma Rose sent you something," she said, sliding an envelope across the counter. "She's so proud of you, Kira." Inside was a check for $300. I laughed. That was Grandma, practical, careful with every penny. She lived in a quiet New Jersey neighborhood, baked the same oatmeal cookies every Christmas, and treated money like it could disappear if you weren't watching. She said to use it for textbooks or something responsible, my mother added, too quickly. At 18, I didn't question her. Why would I? I deposited the check that afternoon and forgot about it. 2 months later, I was in Boston, learning what independent actually costs. Tuition crushed me. I worked late shifts at a campus cafe, took out loans that made my hands shake when I signed the papers, and ate ramen more nights than I want to admit. My mother called every Sunday. Always the same questions. Are you eating enough? How are your grades? Do you need money? I always said no. I didn't want to be a burden. Then October came, and she asked something strange. So, have you spent it all yet? I was walking between classes, barely paying attention. Spent what? Silence. Too long. Long enough that I stopped walking. The money Grandma sent you, she said, her voice careful in a way that made my skin prickle. You mean the 300? I shifted my backpack. That was gone the first week. Books aren't cheap. Another pause. Heavier this time. Right, she said. Of course. We hung up a minute later. I thought it was weird, but I had a statistics exam to worry about. I didn't have time to overthink my mother's tone. I should have. Thanksgiving break, I went home to Connecticut. Grandma Rose drove up from New Jersey. She hugged me at the door, held my face in both hands the way she always did, and smiled. I hope the money helped, sweetheart. It did, I said. Thank you again, Grandma. Her smile cracked. Just slightly. Just enough. All of it? She asked. I shrugged, confused. Well, yeah. Boston isn't cheap. She didn't answer. Just nodded slowly, let go of my face, and walked toward the kitchen without another word. That night, I woke up to voices downstairs. Hushed. Tense. I crept to the top of the stairs and pressed myself against the wall. My mother and Grandma Rose were arguing in the living room. I couldn't hear most of it. But one sentence cut through clear as glass. $21,000, Linda. I need to know. My stomach dropped so fast I thought I'd be sick. 21,000? I stood there in the dark, heart pounding, trying to make sense of what I'd just heard. What had my mother done? I didn't sleep that night. I lay in my childhood bedroom, staring at glow-in-the-dark stars I'd stuck to the ceiling when I was 12, trying to make sense of what I'd heard. $21,000. Not 300. 21,000. The next morning, my mother left early to buy groceries. The second her car pulled out of the driveway, I went downstairs. Grandma Rose was sitting at the kitchen table, hands wrapped around a coffee mug she wasn't drinking from. Grandma, I said quietly. What did you mean last night? Her face went pale. She set the mug down carefully, like it might shatter. You heard that. I heard enough. I sat across from her. What's going on? She was quiet for a long time. Then she reached for her purse, pulled out her phone, and opened her banking app. She turned the screen toward me. Wire transfer confirmation. 2 weeks before my graduation. Amount, $21,000. Recipient, Linda Hollis. My mother. I sold a piece of land in Wyoming, Grandma said, her voice shaking. I'd owned it for 30 years. Bought it when your grandfather was alive. It wasn't worth much back then, but the value went up. I couldn't breathe. I sent this to your mother with very clear instructions. She looked at me, eyes wet. Every penny was supposed to go to you. For college. Not a dime less. My hands were numb. She told me she gave it to you, Grandma continued. I asked her twice. She swore you had it. I thought about the $300 check. The careful way my mother had handed it to me. The smile. She gave me $300, I whispered. Grandma Rose closed her eyes. Where's the rest? I asked, though I already knew the answer made me want to scream. I don't know, Grandma said. She won't tell me. We sat there in silence until we heard my mother's car in the driveway. Grandma grabbed my hand. Don't say anything yet. Not until we know more. But I couldn't hold it in. The second my mother walked through the door, arms full of grocery bags, I stood up. Where's my money? The bags hit the floor. My mother didn't even try to deny it. She just stood there, groceries scattered around her feet, staring at me like I'd slapped her. Kira. Where is it? My voice was louder than I intended. Grandma sent me $21,000. You gave me $300. Where's the rest? She glanced at Grandma Rose, then back at me. Can we talk about this privately? No, I said. We're talking now. She bent down slowly, started picking up cans of soup, a bag of apples. Stalling. I was holding onto it for you, she said finally, not looking at me. You're 18. You don't know how to handle that kind of money. I was protecting you. Protecting me? I felt something hot rise in my chest. From what? Paying for college? You don't understand how the world works yet. Then help me understand. I crossed my arms. Where is it? She set the groceries on the counter. Her hands were shaking. It's safe. That's not an answer. I'm your mother, Kira. I know what's best for you. That phrase. I'd heard it my whole life. Every time I questioned her. Every time I pushed back. If you know what's best, I said slowly, then give me the money. Let me prove I can handle it. She opened her mouth. Closed it. Opened it again. I already used most of it anyway. The room went silent. Grandma Rose stood up. You what? I had expenses, my mother said quickly, defensively. The mortgage was behind. The car needed repairs. You don't know what it's like raising a kid alone. That wasn't your money, Grandma said, her voice ice. She's my daughter. What's hers is. No. I cut her off. What's mine is mine. You stole from me. I didn't steal anything. I'm your mother. You lied to me. You lied to Grandma. You took money that was meant for my education and spent it on yourself. Her face twisted. You have no idea what I've sacrificed for you. Then tell me. I stepped closer. What did you spend it on? Where did $20,000 go? She looked away. Tell me. I can't. Can't or won't. She grabbed her purse off the counter. I need air. She walked out the front door, got in her car, and drove away. I stood there, shaking, staring at the space where she'd been. Grandma Rose put a hand on my shoulder. We'll figure this out. But I already knew something she didn't. My mother wasn't just hiding where the money went. She was hiding why she couldn't get it back. And that meant someone else had it. I went back to Boston the next day, but I didn't go back to normal. I couldn't stop thinking about the way my mother's face had changed when I asked where the money went. That wasn't guilt. That was fear. She was afraid of something. Or someone. Winter break came in late December. I told my mother I was staying in Boston to work extra shifts. Instead, I came home while she was at her office job and let myself in with the key I'd never returned. I wasn't sure what I was looking for. Just anything. I started in her bedroom. Closet first. Nothing unusual. Then her dresser drawers. Clothes. Old photos. A jewelry box with 2 broken necklaces inside. Then I checked under her bed. That's where I found the folder. It was stuffed with papers, printouts, brochures, contracts. I sat on the floor and spread them out. The first page made my blood run cold. Coastal Property Solutions, LLC. Exclusive real estate investment opportunity. There were photos of a beach house in Maryland. Glossy. Professional. The kind of images that make you believe you're looking at something real. Projected returns, 40% in 6 months. Minimum investment, $15,000. I kept reading. The company promised to flip distressed properties along the Chesapeake Bay. Buy low, renovate, sell high. Investors would get their initial capital back plus profit within a year. At the bottom of the brochure, in small print, limited partnerships available. Contact Trevor Millhouse for details. Trevor. I'd never heard that name before. I pulled out my phone and searched for Coastal Property Solutions. Nothing. No website. No business registration. No reviews. I searched Trevor Millhouse next. A few social media profiles popped up, but they were all private or abandoned. One LinkedIn page, last updated 2 years ago, listed him as a real estate consultant in Baltimore. Then I found a news article from 8 months ago. Local investors claim fraud in Maryland real estate scheme. I read the whole thing. Trevor Millhouse had been running a scam. He took money from investors, showed them fake properties, promised renovations that never happened. When people asked for updates, he'd stall. When they demanded their money back, he'd vanish. By the time authorities caught on, he was gone. No forwarding address. No bank accounts in his name. The article estimated he'd stolen over $300,000 from victims across Maryland and Virginia. I sat there on my mother's bedroom floor, hands shaking, staring at the folder. She'd given my college money to a con artist. I kept digging. Found emails she'd printed out. Trevor's messages were smooth, confident, full of promises. He called her Lynn. Sent her photos of himself standing in front of properties. Talked about their future. Our future, he'd written in one email. Once this deal closes, we're set. My mother hadn't just invested in his scam. She'd been in a relationship with him. And now he was gone. The company was gone. The money was gone. I put everything back exactly how I found it, locked the house, and drove back to Boston. I didn't call my mother. Not yet. Because I just realized something, she wasn't just a thief. She was a victim too. But that didn't change what she'd done to me. 3 days after I found the folder, Grandma Rose called me. I need to tell you something, she said. Can you talk? I was in my dorm room, pretending to study for finals. Yeah. What's going on? I did something back in September, she said carefully. Right after I sent the money to your mother. I sat up straighter. I had a feeling, Grandma continued. Nothing concrete. Just, your mother has always been careless with money. I love her, but I'm not blind. What did you do? I called the bank. Told them I wanted to flag the transfer. Asked them to monitor how the funds were used. My heart started pounding. They said they couldn't stop the transfer, it was already complete. But they opened a file. Put a note in the system. If anything looked suspicious, they'd investigate. And? I asked. They called me 2 weeks ago, Grandma said. The money moved through 3 different accounts in under a month. That triggered their fraud detection system. They've been building a case. I couldn't breathe. What kind of case? Financial misconduct. Possibly theft. If they determine your mother knowingly misappropriated funds intended for a minor's education, there could be legal consequences. I thought about the emails. The boyfriend. The fake company. Does she know? I asked. Not yet. The bank is still investigating. But Kira. Grandma's voice dropped. Once they finish, they'll contact her. And if she can't explain where the money went, or if she can't return it. She didn't finish the sentence. She didn't have to. My mother could be charged with a crime. I didn't do this to hurt her, Grandma said quickly. I did it to protect you. That money was yours. If there's a paper trail, you might actually get it back. I leaned against my dorm room wall, trying to process everything. Have you talked to her? I asked. She won't answer my calls, Grandma said. She knows something's wrong. I can feel it. That's when I understood what my mother's fear had really been about. She wasn't just scared of me finding out. She was scared of getting caught. Don't tell her what I told you, Grandma said. Not yet. Let the bank finish their work. We hung up a few minutes later. I sat there in the quiet, staring at my phone. For the first time since Thanksgiving, I had leverage. My mother didn't know about the bank investigation. She didn't know I'd found the folder. She didn't know I had the full story. She thought I was just angry. She had no idea what was coming. And I wasn't ready to tell her yet. I started asking questions. Carefully. Casually. The kind of questions that don't sound like accusations. First, I called my Uncle Marcus, my mother's older brother. We weren't close, but he'd always been decent to me. Hey, random question, I said during our call. Did Grandma help Mom out financially when I was younger? He hesitated. Why are you asking? Just curious. Mom mentioned something about loans once, and I wasn't sure if I remembered right. Your grandma loaned her money a few times, he said slowly. Maybe 4 or 5 times over the years. 10,000 here, 5,000 there. Did she pay it back? Another pause. Longer this time. Not that I know of, he finally said. Your grandma never brought it up again. I think she just let it go. She didn't want to cause problems. I thanked him and hung up. Next, I messaged my cousin Bree. She was 25, living in Rhode Island, working as a dental hygienist. Hey, weird question. Didn't you have a college fund from Grandma? Her response came fast. Yeah. Why? What happened to it? I thought Grandma set aside money for all of us. 3 dots appeared. Disappeared. Appeared again. She did. But when I was a senior in high school, Aunt Linda borrowed from it. Said she'd pay it back before I needed it for tuition. My stomach twisted. Did she? No. I ended up taking out loans like everyone else. Grandma felt awful about it. She tried to give me money later, but I told her not to worry. It wasn't her fault. I stared at my phone. Did anyone else know? I typed. My mom knew. She was furious. But Grandma begged her not to make it a big thing. Said Linda was struggling as a single parent and needed help. My mom backed off, but she never trusted Aunt Linda after that. I thanked Bree and put my phone down. 2 incidents. Maybe more I didn't know about yet. This wasn't a mistake. It was a pattern. My mother had been doing this for years. Taking money that wasn't hers. Making promises she never kept. Using family guilt and Grandma's kindness as a shield. And everyone had just let her. Because that's what families do, right? You forgive. You move on. You don't make waves. But how much forgiveness does one person get before it stops being grace and starts being permission? I thought about all the times my mother had called herself a victim. All the times she'd cried about how hard her life was. How much she'd sacrificed. But who had she sacrificed? Not herself. Us. She'd built her entire life on other people's money. Other people's trust. Other people's silence. And the worst part? She'd gotten away with it every single time. Until now. Because this time, there was a paper trail. This time, someone was paying attention. And this time, I wasn't going to stay quiet. Spring break arrived, and I had a decision to make. I could call my mother right now. Tell her I knew everything. Demand she face what she'd done. Or I could wait. I sat in a coffee shop near campus, laptop open, staring at the folder I'd photographed from her room. Bank statements Grandma had emailed me. Messages from Bree and Uncle Marcus. All the evidence laid out in front of me. One phone call, and I could destroy her. But would that actually fix anything? My phone buzzed. My mother's name lit up the screen. I almost didn't answer. Then I did. "Hi, baby," she said, and her voice was wrong. Tight. Strained. "How are you?" "Fine." "Listen, She trailed off. "I know things have been tense since Thanksgiving. I want to make it right." I said nothing. "I'm working on getting the money back," she continued. "It's complicated, but I'm handling it. I just need you to trust me." Trust her. The woman who'd lied to my face. Who'd stolen from her own daughter. Who'd done this before to other people and never faced consequences. "Have you talked to Grandma lately?" I asked. She went quiet. "Why?" "Just wondering." "Kira, if she said something." "She didn't say anything," I lied. "I'm asking you." "We're working through some things," my mother said carefully. "What kind of things?" "Adult things. You don't need to worry about it." There it was again. That phrase. That tone. Treating me like I was still a child who couldn't handle the truth. "Okay," I said. "Okay?" She sounded surprised. "Yeah. Okay." We hung up a minute later. I stared at my phone, thinking about what she'd just said. She was working on getting the money back. But the money was gone. The boyfriend was gone. The company never existed. So what was she actually doing? I opened my laptop and checked my email. There was a new message from Grandma Rose. Subject line, "The bank called." My hands shook as I clicked it open. "They're moving forward with the investigation. Your mother will be contacted within 2 weeks. I thought you should know. We need to talk about what happens next." 2 weeks. I had 2 weeks to decide what kind of person I wanted to be. Forgiving? Or honest? Maybe they weren't the same thing. The family started splitting before anyone even knew why. It began with a phone call from my aunt, Uncle Marcus's wife, Diane. "Your mother called me crying last night," she said. Said you and Grandma Rose are ganging up on her. Said you're trying to make her look bad. I was walking to class, backpack digging into my shoulders. Did she tell you why we're upset? She said it was a misunderstanding about money. That you're being dramatic. Dramatic, I repeated. Look, I'm not taking sides, Diane said quickly. I just think maybe you should give her some grace. She raised you alone, Kira. That wasn't easy. I stopped walking. Students streamed past me on both sides. She stole from me, I said quietly. That's a strong word. She took $21,000 that Grandma sent for my college tuition and gave me $300. What would you call that? Diane went silent. Ask Bree what happened to her college fund, I said. Ask Uncle Marcus about the loans Grandma gave Mom that were never paid back. Then tell me I'm being dramatic. I hung up before she could respond. Over the next week, the whispers spread. Some family members called my mother. Some called Grandma. A few called me. Everyone had an opinion. My mother's cousin posted something vague on social media about family loyalty and forgiveness. 3 people liked it. Uncle Marcus stopped answering my mother's calls entirely. Bree sent me a long message saying she was proud of me for speaking up, that she wished she'd done the same years ago. My mother's best friend from work called me, voice dripping with judgment. Your mother is sick over this. She made a mistake. Haven't you ever made a mistake? Not with someone else's tuition money, I said. She hung up on me. The worst call came from my mother herself, late on a Thursday night. People are turning on me, she said, voice raw from crying. My own brother won't talk to me. Diane thinks I'm a thief. Even people at work are looking at me differently. How do they know? I asked. I don't know. Someone's talking. Someone's spreading lies. They're not lies. She went quiet. I didn't steal from you, Kira. I made a bad investment. There's a difference. With my money, I said. Money you lied about. Money you had no right to touch. I'm your mother. Everything I did was to protect you. Stop saying that. My voice cracked. Stop acting like you did this for me. You did it for yourself. You always do. That's not fair. You gave my college money to a con artist you were dating. You put your relationship ahead of my education. How is that protecting me? She started crying. Real, ugly sobs. I'm losing everything, she whispered. My family hates me. You hate me. And Grandma. She trailed off. What about Grandma? She's done something. I can feel it. The bank keeps calling. They're asking questions I can't answer. My chest tightened. What kind of questions? Where the money went? Why I can't produce records? Kira. Her voice dropped to almost nothing. If they find out what really happened, I'm ruined. She hung up before I could respond. I sat there in my dorm room, phone in my hand, heart pounding. She knew. She knew she was caught. And she was terrified. Part of me felt sorry for her. The rest of me remembered what she'd taken from me. The family meeting was my idea. I called Grandma Rose first. We need to do this face to face. All of us. No more phone calls. No more hiding. She agreed immediately. Then I called my mother. There's a family meeting at Grandma's house this Saturday. 1 o'clock. Everyone's going to be there. Who's everyone? She asked nervously. You, me, Grandma, Uncle Marcus, Diane, and Bree. The people who deserve to know the truth. Kira, please don't do this. You can come and explain yourself, I said calmly. Or you cannot come, and we'll talk about you anyway. Your choice. She showed up. Saturday afternoon, we all gathered in Grandma Rose's living room in New Jersey. The same room where I'd spent countless Christmases. Where I'd learned to play checkers. Where everything had always felt safe. It didn't feel safe anymore. My mother sat on the couch, hands folded in her lap, eyes red. She looked smaller than I'd ever seen her. Uncle Marcus stood by the window, arms crossed. Diane sat next to Grandma. Bree perched on the armrest of a chair, watching everything. I stood in the middle of the room, a folder in my hands. I asked everyone here because we need to stop pretending, I started. We need to stop protecting someone who's hurt all of us. My mother's head snapped up. I haven't hurt anyone. Let her finish, Grandma said quietly. I opened the folder. Last June, Grandma sold property in Wyoming. She wired $21,000 to Mom with clear instructions, give it all to me for college. I pulled out the bank confirmation and held it up. Mom gave me $300. She kept the rest. Diane's hand went to her mouth. When I confronted her, she said she was holding on to it for me. Then she admitted she'd already spent most of it. I pulled out the next document. She invested my tuition money into a fake real estate company run by a con artist she was dating. His name is Trevor Millhouse. He's wanted for fraud in Maryland. The company never existed. The properties were fake. The money is gone. Uncle Marcus turned to look at my mother. Linda. I didn't know it was fake, she said desperately. He showed me documents. Photos. I thought it was real. But you knew the money wasn't yours, I said. You knew it was supposed to go to me. She didn't answer. I pulled out more papers. This isn't the first time. Grandma loaned Mom money 5 times over the past decade. None of it was paid back. Uncle Marcus nodded slowly. I told you, he muttered to Diane. And Bree, I continued, turning to my cousin. Tell them what happened to your college fund. Bree's voice was steady. Aunt Linda borrowed from it my senior year. Promised to return it before I needed it for tuition. She never did. I took out loans instead. My mother's face crumpled. I was going to pay you back. When? Bree asked. It's been 7 years. The room went silent. I pulled out the last document. Grandma flagged the transfer with the bank back in September. They've been investigating for months. The money moved through multiple accounts in ways that triggered fraud alerts. My mother stood up suddenly. You reported me? I reported suspicious activity, Grandma said, her voice steady but sad. Because my gut told me something was wrong. And I was right. The bank is moving forward, I said. They've already contacted law enforcement. There's going to be consequences, Mom. Real ones. My mother looked around the room, at her brother, her niece, her mother, her daughter. Nobody was defending her. Nobody was making excuses. For the first time in her life, she was alone with what she'd done. I'm sorry, she whispered. Sorry you did it, I asked, or sorry you got caught? She didn't answer. She just grabbed her purse and walked out. The door closed behind her, and nobody moved to follow. 3 months later, things looked different. The bank investigation concluded. My mother wasn't criminally charged. The prosecutor said it would be hard to prove intent since the money was transferred to her account directly. But the bank froze her assets temporarily and required her to enter a repayment plan. Grandma Rose hired a lawyer. They set up a payment structure. My mother would pay back $50 a month for the next 20 years. It wasn't the full amount. It never would be. But it was accountability. Grandma also did something else. She established a new trust fund in my name. Not 21,000, she couldn't replace what was lost. But enough to cover 2 semesters of tuition. The account was locked. Only I could access it. Only I could decide how it was used. No one else touches this, she told me the day we signed the papers. Not your mother. Not anyone. I cried in her kitchen that afternoon. Not because of the money. Because someone finally protected me. My mother and I don't talk much anymore. She sends text messages sometimes. Asks how I'm doing. Tells me she's working on herself. I reply when I feel like it. Uncle Marcus cut contact with her completely. So did Bree. Diane sends her a Christmas card every year, but that's it. Some people think I'm cruel for not forgiving her. They say things like, she's still your mother, and family is family, and everyone deserves a second chance. But here's what I learned. Forgiveness isn't the same as trust. And family isn't an excuse for theft. I'm finishing my junior year in Boston now. My loans are still brutal, but they're manageable. I work the same cafe job. I study late into the night. I'm building a life that's mine. Not funded by lies. Not borrowed from people who trusted the wrong person. Mine. Sometimes I think about what would have happened if I'd stayed quiet. If I'd let it go like everyone else did before me. My mother would still be taking. Grandma would still be covering for her. And I'd be drowning in debt, working twice as hard to pay for an education that should have been secured. Silence protects no one but the guilty. So I spoke up. Not because I wanted revenge. Because I wanted the truth to matter. Because I needed my family to stop pretending that love means letting someone hurt you over and over again. My mother asked me once why I never warned her before exposing everything. I didn't answer. Because the truth is, people who betray you don't deserve a warning. They deserve honesty. And sometimes, honesty feels like punishment. But that's not my fault. That's theirs. So let me ask you something. If your own family stole your future, would you stay silent to keep the peace? Or would you fight for what's yours? Drop a comment. Tell me what you would have done. Because I still wonder sometimes if I made the right choice. And if you want more stories like this, real, raw, and unfiltered, you know what to do. Don't wait until someone takes something from you to realize silence costs more than truth.